It was a very hot afternoon in a quiet part of the city. The sun was shining hard and the road was full of dust. Two friends were walking fast on the street. One was Mara, a young woman with a kind face. The other was Jasper, a young man who looked sharp and full of ideas. Mara's clothes were old and her face looked tired. She looked at Jasper and asked, "Are you sure this place will give me a job?" Jasper smiled. "Don't worry, I know the manager there. I will talk to him, just follow me." Mara nodded. Her legs were weak, but she kept walking. She had nothing left at home. If she didn't get this job, she didn't know what she would do next. The road ahead looked very long, but they didn't stop. Mara was holding on to hope, and Jasper was sure his connection would help her. As they turned a corner, they saw an old woman walking slowly in front of them. She was very thin and her legs were shaking. On her head, she was carrying a big bucket of water. The bucket was heavy and the old woman kept bending to one side. Sweat was running down her face. Suddenly, she stopped and called out in a tired voice, "Please, my children, help me carry this thing. My body is weak." Mara slowed down and looked at the woman. Jasper pulled her hand. "Let's go, we're already late. If we don't reach there on time, the manager will leave." Mara looked at the old woman again. The woman's legs were shaking and it looked like she could fall at any moment. "But she needs help," Mara said softly. Jasper looked at the old woman and frowned. His voice was sharp. "Mama, we don't have time," he said. "We're going somewhere important. Why did you carry this knowing you're too old?" The old woman blinked slowly. She didn't say a word. Her hands were still shaking. Mara turned quickly and looked at Jasper with surprise in her eyes. "Jasper, how can you talk like that?" she asked. "She's an old woman. She needs help." Jasper folded his arms and shook his head. "This is not our problem, Mara. Let her rest or wait for someone else. We've come too far for this." Mara took a deep breath. "But what if she falls?" she said softly. "What if this is the only help she finds today?" Jasper looked away and said nothing, but it was clear he was angry. He tapped his file against his leg and hissed, "If we miss the manager, don't blame me." But Mara was no longer listening to him. Something in her heart told her this moment was bigger than any job. Mara walked slowly to the old woman. She bent down and gave her a warm smile. "Mama," she said gently, "where do you stay? I'll help you." The woman looked at her, surprised. "You will help me?" she asked. "Yes, Mama, give me the bucket," Mara replied, stretching out her hand. Jasper stepped back slowly, his face full of confusion. He watched as Mara lifted the heavy bucket from the woman's head and placed it on her own. The old woman stared at her, almost in shock. Jasper opened his mouth to speak, then closed it. He looked around, unsure of what to do. Mara turned to the old woman. "Mama, lead the way," she said with a smile. As they began to walk, something strange happened. The sun that had been so hot just moments ago started to hide behind the clouds. Jasper looked up and felt something in his chest. It wasn't anger, it was the feeling that something big, something he didn't understand, was about to happen. Mara followed the old woman into a quiet pathway. They reached a small house at the end of the road. The house looked very old. The walls had many cracks, but the ground was clean and the flowers by the corner looked fresh. Mara stood still and looked around. "Is this your house, Mama?" she asked softly. "Yes, my daughter," the woman replied, pointing at a short tree beside the door. "Please drop the water there." Mara walked slowly to the tree. She bent down and placed the bucket carefully beside it. She stood up and wiped her face with her hand. "I'll be going now, Mama," she said. Just as Mara was about to step out of the compound, the old woman called her back. "My daughter," she said gently. "Wait." Mara stopped and turned around. The woman walked closer and held her hand. "Please," she said, "go to that corner over there. You will see a small native pot. Bring it to me." Mara walked to the corner. Her fingers shook as she picked up the small native pot. She turned and walked back quickly, holding the pot with both hands. "Here, Mama," she said, handing it over. The woman smiled. She held the pot carefully, untied the red cloth, and opened the pot very slowly. Mara leaned forward, her eyes wide. Then the woman brought out something shiny. It was a bar of gold. Mara's eyes grew wide. She had never seen gold in real life before. The woman smiled and looked at her gently. "You are kind," she said. "People like you are few." She placed the gold in Mara's hand. "Keep it for 7 days. Don't sell it yet. After 7 days, you can sell it and use the money to make your life better." Mara stared at the gold in shock. Then she dropped to her knees. "Mama, thank you," she said, her voice full of joy. "God bless you. I didn't expect anything, I only helped because it was the right thing to do." The old woman nodded and touched her head gently. "Go, my daughter," she said with a smile. "Your kindness will open more doors for you." Mara stood up, still holding the gold tightly. Her eyes were shining. She turned and walked away slowly, her heart full of thanks. With a big smile on her face, she made her way home. She kept looking at her handbag where the gold was hidden. She wanted to scream, but she held herself. As she walked, people looked at her and wondered why she was smiling alone, but Mara didn't care. She was thinking about one person, Jasper. "I need to tell him everything," she said to herself. She walked faster, almost running. When she reached the street where Jasper stayed, she saw him standing in front of his house, holding his phone to his ear. Her smile grew bigger. She waved and called out, "Jasper." But Jasper didn't wave back. He slowly dropped the phone and looked at her with a hard face. Mara stopped in front of him, still smiling. "Jasper, I have something to tell you," she said. "You won't believe what happened after I left." Jasper raised his hand. "So you left me just like that, Mara," he said, his voice cold. Mara's smile faded. "I didn't leave you. I helped the old woman, remember?" Jasper shook his head. "I thought you were serious about getting that job. But no, you threw it away just like that. Do you think life is a joke?" Mara looked down. "I know, but—" "You always say you want a better life," Jasper said, cutting her off, "yet when it's time to act, you run off to play hero." Mara's hands began to shake. "It wasn't like that. Please, let me explain." Jasper turned his face away. "There's nothing to explain." "Jasper, wait," Mara said quickly. She reached into her handbag with shaky hands. "Just look at this," she added, opening the bag wide. She slowly brought out a bar of gold. The gold shined so brightly that Jasper's eyes grew wide. He didn't say anything for a moment. He just stood still, staring at it. Then his voice came out low and sharp. "Where did you get this, Mara? Where did you get it? Did you steal it?" Mara's eyes opened wide in shock. "No, I didn't steal anything." Jasper took a step closer, his eyes still on the gold. "Tell me the truth. This kind of thing, people don't just find it on the road." "I didn't find it on the road," Mara said softly. "Please, just listen to me." Mara looked Jasper in the eyes. "The old woman gave it to me," she said. "After I helped her carry water to her house." Jasper frowned. "An old woman gave you gold?" "Yes," Mara said, her voice calm now. Her house was old and she looked poor. But when I helped her, she told me to bring her a small pot. The gold was inside. She said it was a gift for my kindness. Jasper was silent. He looked down at the gold, then back at Mara's face. His lips moved slowly. She just gave you this? Just like that? Mara nodded. Yes. She told me to keep it for 7 days before I sell it. Jasper didn't say anything. He just kept looking at the gold. Then he slowly licked his lips and smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was a strange smile, one that made Mara's heart beat a little faster. She didn't know why, but something didn't feel right. After Mara left, Jasper stayed outside. He didn't go in. He just sat on the small wooden bench by the wall. His eyes were fixed on the ground, but his mind was moving fast. How can an old woman give someone gold? He said quietly. She lives in a broken house. She looks poor. Something is not right. He stood up, then sat down again. I must find that woman. I must see her with my own eyes. He looked at the road where Mara had walked from, then whispered to himself. If she gave Mara gold, maybe she has more. The next morning, Jasper left his house early. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. He went to the same street where he and Mara had seen the old woman. He stood under a tree and waited. People passed. The sun got hotter. But the old woman didn't come. He came back the next day. Still, she didn't show up. It was the 3rd day. Jasper was standing at the corner of the street again. His shirt was wet with sweat, but he didn't care. Then, he saw her. The same old woman. She was walking slowly with a pail of water on her head. Her feet moved gently on the dusty road. Jasper's eyes lit up. He rushed to her side. Mama, please, let me help you, he said, reaching for the pail. The old woman stopped and looked at him. She didn't speak at first. She just looked into his eyes, as if trying to read his heart. Then slowly, she nodded and gave him the pail of water. Jasper balanced the water on his head and followed her quietly. He looked calm on the outside, but inside his thoughts were running fast. This is my chance, he told himself. They got to the woman's compound, just like before. The walls had cracks, but everything was neat. Jasper dropped the pail beside the small tree and turned to face her. He forced a small tear into his voice. Mama, he said softly, I want to say sorry for the way I spoke to you last time. The woman looked at him. She didn't say a word. My father is very sick, Jasper continued. He has been in bed for days. We don't have money to buy drugs. He wiped his eyes, even though no real tears came out. I didn't know where else to go, he said. That's why I came. He lowered his head and waited. But deep in his heart, he wasn't thinking about any sick father. He was thinking about the gold. The old woman looked at Jasper for a long time. Then she asked, My son, do I look like someone who has money? Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. Jasper opened his mouth but said nothing. He just looked down and sniffed loudly, still pretending to cry. The woman sighed. She turned slowly and started walking into her small house. Jasper stood there silent. He watched her back as she walked away. Then he dropped to the ground, held his face, and made soft crying sounds. But in his mind, he was thinking. If she gave Mara gold, she can give me too, Jasper muttered to himself. Just as the old woman reached her door, she stopped and looked back at him. Jasper, she called. He looked up quickly. She pointed with her finger. Go behind the house, under the tree. There's a small pot. Bring it to me. Jasper jumped up. Thank you, Mama, he said and ran to the back of the house. There, under a small mango tree, he saw the pot. It was dark, round, and covered with a piece of old cloth. He looked around. No one was there. Carefully, he lifted the cloth. His eyes grew wide. Inside the pot were gold bars, not one, not two, but many. Jasper held the pot and stared at the gold. His hand was shaking. He looked around again. Still, nobody was watching. He touched one of the bars and whispered, "Should I take everything? She won't know." He paused, then looked up at the sky and sighed. "No," he said. "I won't do that." Slowly, he placed the gold bars back inside the pot, covered it with the cloth, and carried it to the front of the house. The old woman was sitting on a small bench, waiting for him. He dropped the pot in front of her and forced a small smile. The old woman looked at the pot, then at Jasper. She nodded slowly, as if she knew what he had been thinking. She opened the pot and picked one gold bar. Then she stood up and placed it in Jasper's hand. "Take this one," she said. "Keep it safe for 7 days. Don't touch it. After that, you can sell it." Jasper nodded quickly. "Thank you, Mama," he said. But inside, he was not happy. "One? Just one," he thought to himself. "Mara got one, and now me too, one. But I saw more. Why can't I have all?" He smiled at the woman, but in his heart, he was already planning something else. The old woman pointed behind the house. "Take the pot back where you found it," she said. Jasper nodded. "Yes, Mama." He carried the pot and started walking to the back. As he moved, he looked over his shoulder to see if the old woman was watching. When he got to the back of the house, he stopped. His heart was beating fast. He bent down, opened the pot again, and looked inside. The gold bars were still there, shining. He smiled. Quickly, he took 3 more bars and hid them inside his shirt. Then he closed the pot and placed it back under the tree. He wiped his hands and walked back to the front, smiling like nothing happened. The old woman was standing by the door. She looked straight at him and asked, "You didn't touch anything in the pot, right?" Jasper laughed and scratched his head. "No, Mama. I only put it back like you said." The woman looked at him for a long time. Then she slowly nodded. "Okay. You can go." Jasper smiled again and turned to leave. But deep in his heart, he felt a small fear. Did she know? Did she see me? Still, he walked away, holding the stolen gold close to his chest. It was a quiet afternoon. Mara came home with food items. As she walked closer to the door, she was surprised to see the old woman sitting at her doorstep. "Ah, Mama." Mara dropped her bag. "How is your health? I hope everything is okay." The old woman looked at her. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "Mara," she said slowly, "did you take my gold?" Mara's mouth opened wide. Her heart jumped. "What?" she said. "No, Mama, I didn't. I would never do that." The old woman didn't say anything. She just kept looking at her. Mara's hands began to shake. "I swear, Mama," she said, tears in her eyes. "I didn't touch anything." After the old woman left, Mara sat on the floor thinking. "Why did she ask me that?" she whispered to herself. Then her eyes became wide. Her mind went back to the gold. She remembered she had told Jasper everything. She remembered how he kept looking at the gold. She closed her eyes. "No, he's my friend. He can't do that." But something didn't feel right. He hadn't called her since that day. He didn't ask how she was doing. And now the gold was missing. Mara held her head with both hands. What if Jasper did it? She didn't want to believe it, but deep inside her heart, a small voice whispered, "Check on him." Mara could not sleep. Her heart was too heavy. The next morning, she walked straight to Jasper's house. She knocked hard on the door. He came out yawning. "Jasper," she said, standing in front of him. "Did you take the old woman's gold?" Jasper's eyes opened wide, then he frowned. "Me?" he shouted. "Are you okay? Why would you say that to me?" "Because she came to my house and asked," Mara said. "You were the only other person who saw the gold." Jasper raised his hand in anger. "Don't insult me. I don't even know her house." "Then why are you shouting?" Mara asked. Jasper turned away. "I'm done with this nonsense," he said and walked away, shaking his head. That evening, Jasper came back home. He was whistling as he opened the gate. But when he got to his door, he stopped. The old woman was sitting there, quiet, calm. Jasper's eyes widened. "Mama," he said. "Why are you here?" She looked up at him and asked softly, "Where is my gold?" Jasper laughed quickly and scratched his head. "Mama, I kept it where you told me to. I didn't touch anything. I swear." The woman's eyes didn't blink. She looked at him long and deep. Then she said, "Are you sure?" Jasper nodded fast, but his hands were shaking behind his back. The old woman stood up slowly from where she sat. She looked at Jasper with calm eyes. Her voice was soft, but her words were strong. "If you took it, return it now. If you don't, be ready for what will happen." Jasper opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. The old woman turned and walked away. She didn't look back. Jasper stood at the door, his hand on the wall. He breathed fast and looked around, then said to himself, "She's just an old woman. She can't do anything. My money is coming soon. I'll be fine." He went inside and locked the door. But that night, he didn't sleep. A few days later, something strange happened. People in the street saw Jasper walking around with no shoes. His clothes were dirty and torn, his hair was rough, and his face looked lost. He was laughing and talking to himself. "Gold! I'm rich," he shouted, throwing sand in the air. Children ran away from him. Some women closed their shops and stared. "Is that not Jasper?" one man asked. "What happened to him?" No one had an answer. Mara was walking down the road, holding her small bag. The sun was hot, and people were moving up and down. Then she saw someone coming from the other side. The person had no shoes, his shirt was torn, his hair was scattered. He was talking to himself and laughing. Mara stopped. Her heart jumped. She looked again and shouted, "Jasper." The man stopped and looked at her. His eyes were red, and his lips were dry. "Jasper, is that you?" she asked again. But Jasper turned his face and began to walk away, still talking to himself. Mara stood still. She could not believe what she was seeing. She then walked toward him. Before he could go far, she grabbed his shirt from the back. "Stop there," she shouted. Jasper tried to pull away, but he was weak. "You're not going anywhere," Mara said, holding him tight. "Tell me what happened to you. Who did this to you?" Jasper looked at her with tired eyes. He smiled and whispered, the gold is talking to me." Mara's hand shook. She pulled him to the side of the road. "Jasper, talk to me, please." "What gold? What did you do?" But Jasper only laughed again and pointed to the sky. "Money is sweet," he said, "but it can burn your head." Mara looked into his eyes and felt cold all over. "I hope it's not what I'm thinking." Jasper looked at Mara, then he started laughing loudly like someone who had lost his mind. He turned in circles and threw his hands in the air. I took her gold. I took the gold. It was me, he sang. He clapped his hands and laughed again. People on the street stopped to watch. Some shook their heads. Others whispered, "This boy has gone mad." Mara stood there, her mouth open. She moved close to him, then held his arm and asked, "You mean you stole the gold?" "Jasper, tell me the truth." Jasper looked at her, his eyes wide. Then he smiled in a strange way and started dancing in one spot. "I told the pot to keep quiet," he said, pointing to the sky, but the pot shouted. "The gold was heavy, but I hid it under my shirt." "Shoo, don't tell the tree." Mara stepped back, shocked. "You lied to me, Jasper. You said you didn't take it. Why did you lie to me?" Jasper started laughing again. "I was going to build a house in the sky, a big one with gold chairs and a talking door," he said, crawling on the ground. Mara covered her mouth with her hands. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Jasper had lost his mind completely. And now she knew why. Mara looked around. People were still standing far away and watching. She held Jasper's arm tight. "You're coming with me," she said. "We're going to see that old woman now." But Jasper shouted, "No. Leave me. The gold is mine. Mine and the frogs." He tried to pull away from her. He kicked his legs and waved his hands. Mara held on tight. She was sweating. "Help me," she cried. "Please. Somebody help me hold him." Jasper started rolling on the ground, laughing and shouting, "The sky is falling. The sky is falling." A tall man with a cap stepped forward. "What's happening here?" he asked. Mara turned to him, still holding Jasper's arm. "Please, sir," she said. "This is my friend. His name is Jasper. Something is wrong with him. He has lost his mind." Jasper was now crawling on the floor, talking to a stone. Mara continued. "I need help to take him to someone. Please help me." The man looked at Jasper and nodded. "Okay," he said. "Let's carry him together. He needs help fast." Jasper suddenly stood up and shouted, "Don't let the pot see me." The man held him from one side. Mara held him from the other. They began to move slowly toward the old woman's house. They reached the small compound. The sun was low. The place was quiet. The old woman was sitting outside her house on a wooden bench. She had a stick beside her, and her eyes were on the ground. She didn't look up. She looked like she was deep in thought, like her heart was heavy. Her face was calm, but her eyes looked tired, as if she had been waiting for something or someone. Jasper was mumbling behind Mara. "The pot, the gold," the frog said, "don't touch it." Mara ran to the old woman and fell on her knees. "Mama, please," she cried. "Please help." The old woman looked up slowly. Her eyes met Mara's. Mara pointed behind her. "It's Jasper. He's the one who took your gold. He lied to you. And now he has gone mad." The old woman didn't say a word. She just listened. Mara's voice shook. "Please help him. He keeps calling your name. He said only you can help him." The old woman looked at Jasper. She took one slow step toward him. Her eyes were sharp, but her voice was calm. "When my gold got missing," she said, "I asked him. I looked him in the eye." She pointed at Jasper, who was now drawing on the ground with his finger and laughing. "I gave him a chance," the old woman continued. "He said no, he lied." Mara looked up quickly. Her eyes were full of worry. The old woman shook her head slowly. Now, what is wrong with him is not from me. It came from above. I cannot help him. She turned away. Mara jumped up and ran to the old woman. She held her wrapper tightly. Mama, please, she cried. Please, do it for me. Tears fell from her eyes. I know he did wrong. I know he took what he shouldn't have. The old woman stopped walking. But please forgive him, Mara said again. Please, I'm begging you. Help him. He's suffering. There was silence. Even Jasper stopped laughing. He looked up slowly, as if he had heard her voice clearly. The old woman turned and looked at both of them. Then she said, "Let me think." She stared at Mara for a long time. She saw the tears on her face, and how tightly Mara was holding her wrapper. Slowly, the woman nodded. If not for your good heart, the old woman said, would not help him. He lied. He stole. And he mocked me. She glanced over at Jasper, who was now sitting on the ground, pulling at grass and laughing to himself. But because of you, the woman added softly, I will try. I will try for your sake. The old woman took a deep breath. She walked slowly toward Jasper. He looked up at her with a strange smile, but she did not smile back. She placed her right hand on his chest, then pressed it again, once, then again. Jasper's body shook. Then, suddenly, he fell flat to the ground, eyes closed. Mara screamed, Mama, what happened? The old woman raised her hand in the air and said, Now, we wait. The air was still. Jasper was not moving. Silence fell over them all. Mara bent down and touched him, shaking him gently. Jasper, wake up, she whispered. Please wake up. Then Jasper moved his hand. Slowly, his eyes opened. He blinked and looked around. Where am I? He asked in a weak voice. Then he saw the old woman standing beside him. His eyes widened, and he tried to stand and run, but Mara and the man beside her quickly held him down. Stop, Jasper, Mara said. You're safe now. You were not well, you were mad. He looked confused. Mad? Yes, Mara said. You lost your mind. You were walking barefoot and talking to yourself. Jasper turned slowly to the old woman. You helped me, he asked. The woman didn't respond, but Mara nodded. Yes, Mama saved you. Jasper dropped to his knees. Thank you, Mama. Thank you for saving me. I didn't know what I was doing. Please forgive me. Mara looked at him. Jasper, she said, please, where is the gold? Tell the truth now. Jasper scratched his head and looked at the ground. I gave it to someone, he said slowly. Who? Mara asked. Who did you give it to? I don't know his name, Jasper said. But before I blacked out, he called me. He said the gold had changed. Mara frowned. Changed? What do you mean? Jasper looked scared. He said the gold turned into pepper, red pepper. I don't know how. That's what he told me. Mara stood up, shaking her head. Jasper, are you still lying? Do you think I'm a fool? I'm telling the truth, Jasper insisted. I swear, that's what he said. Mara looked at him with doubt in her eyes. The air grew still again. Then, the old woman raised her hand slowly. Mara, she said calmly, wait. Mara turned to her, surprised. The old woman's voice was calm, but strong. Jasper is not lying, she said. What do you mean, Mama? Mara asked. The old woman sat on a wooden bench nearby. She stared at the ground for a moment, then looked up. The gold didn't turn to pepper, she said. It was taken back by its true owner. Mara's eyes widened. What? I don't understand. The woman nodded slowly. The gold did not belong to me. I was only keeping it for someone, a spirit. When Jasper took it, the spirit came for it. That is why he lost his mind. Jasper's hands began to shake. He looked down in fear. The woman reached into her wrapper and brought out a small black bag. This, she said, is the gold. It came back to me yesterday. I didn't call for it. It just appeared by my feet. Mara took a step back. So, everything he said was true? Yes, the old woman replied. He was punished because he took what was not his. But now, the gold is back where it belongs. Jasper fell to his knees again. I didn't know. I thought it was just money, he said. The woman looked at him and said, not everything that shines is yours to touch. Silence fell. Even the air felt heavy. Jasper remained on his knees, shame written all over his face. He held his head and said, Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Please forgive me. I will never do such a thing again. Never. The old woman looked at him for a long time, then said, Greed brought this upon you. If something is not yours, leave it. Be happy with what you have. Don't let your eyes lead your heart. Jasper nodded quickly. I understand now, Mama. I do. Then the woman turned to Mara. Her face softened. The gold I gave you, tomorrow will be the 7th day, right? Mara nodded. Yes, Mama. Tomorrow makes it 7 days. The old woman smiled gently. Good. Don't wait too long. Go and exchange it. Use it well. Use it to build your life. That gold was meant for someone with a good heart. It found you because you helped me without asking for anything. Tears welled up in Mara's eyes. Thank you, Mama. Thank you so much. The woman rose to her feet slowly. You can both go now. What needed to be done is done. Jasper bowed his head. Thank you, Mama. Mara added, We're very grateful. They both walked out of the compound quietly. No one said a word, but deep inside, they both knew, nothing would ever be the same again. And that is how it all ended. Mara received her reward, not because she asked for it, but because of her kind heart. Jasper learned the hard way that when you take what doesn't belong to you, it never ends well. What you steal may look sweet for a moment, but in the end, it brings shame, pain, or even madness. The moral of this story is simple. Always do good, even when no one is watching. Be content with what you have. Greed destroys, but kindness? Kindness opens doors that even money cannot. Glowing star, now I want to hear from you. What did you learn from this story? Which part touched you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. I'll be reading all of them. There's another powerful story coming your way very soon, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. So hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification bell, so you'll be the first to know when it drops. If this story moved you, please give it a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. Stay kind. Stay wise. And above all, stay blessed. I'll see you in the next story.